for what Migo does. So sorry, first what Migo does today on the ground, and then also our plans for how we're going to grow that network over time, and what we're going to do together with the MNC group and with Vision Plus. If I could ask to go to the first slide, apologies. So, back one. So there's a lot of media attention on all of the amazing digital innovation that's happening in Indonesia today. And many of these companies that are on the previous slide deserve immense credit for what they've built in just a few years. When I first moved to Indonesia back in 2013, most of these companies were not household names. Many of them did not exist at all. And all of the work that they've done and all of the products and services they've brought have been extremely impressive. But what maybe sits below the surface, what's maybe a little bit less obvious immediately, is that all of them rely heavily on data. They rely on telco infrastructure. They rely on customers being able to connect in real time with their servers, with their products and services, with each other. And what I noticed before I joined Migo, I actually was I was an advisor for telco operations. What I noticed when I actually went out into the field and looked around the country is that most neighborhoods don't have that kind of data delivery architecture in place to be used. Actually, for the majority of Indonesians, they struggle with connectivity every single day because it's too expensive and too slow. 90% of Indonesian households, for example, don't have wireline internet access. And that means that while the large majority do have cell phones and therefore data access, they just need to rely on cellular networks, which in turn are overloaded. Indonesia is in the 20th percentile globally for fastest download speeds, which means that you can use Facebook and WhatsApp, and you can use other social services like that with light data. But if you want to watch something like a quality drama on your phone, even if you can spend the money, it's just not worth it because the network will leave you buffering constantly, your phone will freeze, all these daily headaches that lock people out. They mean that when we survey our target market, we find that 85% of our target consumers have never even tried the long-form video services that have become so popular for so many people today. So what does Migo do about that? We go into these average neighborhoods and we transform them into something digital. So what that means is that I'll give you an example. This right here, this is Pasar Ciplak in Jatinegara, in East Jakarta. And this is very much an average neighborhood in every single way that you could think through. So it's average income across the country. It is, it's diverse, a mix of locals and people who've come to Jakarta from all other parts of the country. And if you actually ask the people there what their data services are, almost none of them have wireline internet. Almost all of them have cell phones. And so if we can go back to the previous graphic, what Migo does, we go into these locations and back one more, there we go. And we install our download stations so that customers like this man right here that you see on this motorcycle, he doesn't have wired internet at his house. He does have a phone. But as he's going about his daily life, as he's stopping by the store to buy a meal, maybe he's going to top up his phone's Pulsa, he can just stop by the Migo download station in his neighborhood. He can download as much content as he likes. It only takes 1 minute for a feature film because of our unique proprietary technology. And then he can go back home or he can get on the bus to work and he can watch as much as he likes without spending a single rupiah on Pulsa. And that's really transformative. That's transformative for this man's life. It's transformative for how he can entertain himself, how he can educate his children. And it's transformative for all these amazing companies that have come up in Indonesia by opening markets to them that previously have not been open. So I'd like to pass on to my colleague Isa now to explain a little bit more around what Migo does on the ground and how we're planning to spread across the country.
Yes, thank you, Pak Den. So as Pak Den mentioned, yeah, that guy in previous slide that is only bought some pulsa or in, still on the previous slide, that guy that has just bought a pulsa or picking up meals and then having on their routine daily lives is actually, we are trying to capture that convenience. Convenience is the key for us to build our network around. So if possible, going back to the previous slide, sorry. And the question is like convenience for who? We are here in Migo, it's like trying to aim 10 of millions who's struggling with connectivity in budgetary and also access, who is actually average people, like the one we saw in the previous slide, right? Average people in our local communities. So, sorry, still on the next, still on the previous slide. We are at Migo Indonesia has developed proprietary data models that which enable us to identify location with convenient characteristic. In the previous slide, if you would switch, guys, convenient characteristic in such locations can be defined as high traffic mid to low and Android phone unique users. So we are aiming for location that has a high density traffic from unique users and frequent visits and stop-bys from these unique users and adequate dwell time. That's how we define our convenient characteristic. Where average people like that Bapak is stopped by regularly and are seeking diversion and small luxuries such as pulsa, coffee shops, eateries, corner store, photocopies, and etc. So within this location, which we call it as a Zona Migo Potential, we partners with local small business owners and turn their war rooms into digital superstores by deploying our Migo download station, MDS, and provide the community all around that war room 24/7 access to our unlimited content, which can be downloaded as fast as 1 minute per feature film and watch with affordable pass, as Pak Barrett mentioned, that is only cost 1,000 rupiah, and you can have an access for that unlimited content every single day for the whole month. Citing in such way, Migo network will be the first convenient digital superstore network, which will seamlessly integrate with customers' daily rhythm in their daily lives. So on to the next slide. As per today, Migo Indonesia has tripled its network size over the past 4 months and now has location across Jakarta, Banten, and also West Java. And we are on track to grow our network to 1,000 locations by the end of this year, and then 10,000 locations all across Java by the end of 2022. By that time, Migo's proprietary network will be covering 100 million people, a large majority of Java population, from the most urban area as Jakarta all the way to smaller and more remote towns where the hunger of data is that much richer. So 3 to 4 years from now, we will have deployed many thousands of locations everywhere from Sabang to Merauke, giving convenient coverage for 250 million data-hungry Indonesians. And at this scale, we will be within daily reach of 80% of Indonesia population. And for most of them, they will pass by multiple MDSs every single day in their convenient route, making Migo a source of data that integrates seamlessly into their lives. Migo will be by far the largest deliverer of gigabytes in Indonesia and will be the go-to spot when customers want any data-heavy goods and services. With that kind of network and this MNC investment, of course, we will bring the best content in Indonesia to vastly wider audience And probably now on to Pak Dan to explain more about that content.
Thank you, Isa. And now, of course, any network is only as good as the content that's carried on it. Until you put content on it, it's just a network. And so on the next slide, of course, we announced previously in June that Vision Plus was becoming our cornerstone entertainment partner. And with that, it's just been an incredibly rich partnership to date. We are carrying the top Cinetrons, as Pak Harry mentioned, of course, Ikatan Cinta, and then Preman Pensiun, Manawali, so many more. And we're carrying the top Vision Plus originals like Twisted and Scriptsick. And that makes the experience of using Migo and trying it for the first time as we roll out in new areas that much richer. So what we've seen in terms of customer uptake on that has been pretty impressive. What we've seen in terms of the gigabytes that have been downloaded for Vision Plus and the users that have paid to watch Vision Plus content in less than 3 months since we launched Vision Plus on Migo has been extremely strong growth. And these curves are only going to accelerate further as we accelerate our network growth with this partnership that we have today. And I do just want to take a moment and recognize that MNC, or Vision Plus, is just one part of the MNC group. And what is in the MNC ecosystem is, without a doubt, the best entertainment ecosystem in all of Southeast Asia. And so with that, greater than 50% FTA share, super app that contains almost 40 million MAUs, the extremely impressive stable of talent that the MNC group has assembled. With all of these assets, supporting Migo and supporting our growth and supporting the growth of Vision Plus on Migo too, what we can do together, I'm sure, is going to be extremely impressive. So our target for 3 to 4 years from now is that Vision Plus on Migo is going to have 20 million plus paying monthly watchers all across Indonesia, each paying at least 15,000 rupiah. And between the scale of the network that we're building, the strong support from the MNC group, and the amazing content that MVN brings to the table, I have no doubt that we can achieve this goal. So to close, I would just like to thank once again Pak Harry, Pak Ade, the entire MNC team. It is an honor to be your partner and an honor to make this announcement today. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dankaner and Ibu Aisanya Wibuti for the presentation. And before we go to the next agenda, I would like to invite Bapak Omar Giri to address and give his thoughts on the presentation by Migo and his aspirations for the MVN group moving forward.
Thank you, Ibu Anisha, and good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Very exciting. That brings us to the end of the very informative and detailed presentation by Dan and Isa, highlighting how the synergies of content and distribution enable the unlocking of growth through technological transformation. And what this does is actually narrow the digital divide between those who are not able to afford the always connected data infrastructure lifestyle that, I think more advanced economies or higher tier consumers can assume or take for granted. I think a little bit about MNC Group with our free-to-air network. We already reach over 96% or 98% of the Indonesian population across the whole archipelago. And we're continuously democratizing access to the vast portfolio of top-rated content, multi-platform access as well, in city and in remote locations. So as the team shared before, apart from free-to-air, we're strong on satellite, IPTV, and increasingly via our flagship OTT platform, Vision Plus. And that heavily relies on the data availability across the consumer landscape. With the furthering of our existing agreement with Migo, as Barrett mentioned earlier, into a strategic investment, we believe that the innovative technology that they bring, enabling last mile content delivery, would vastly increase both our subscriber bases especially for those unable to afford continuous data plans, and also enable offline viewing, as users are now able to enjoy our top-rated content, not only media titles, popular titles like Ikatan Cinta and the originals that we produce, but also potentially gaming content, financial services, educational programs in the future as well. And I'd like to take this opportunity to also highlight that as people move across the archipelago, the data connectivity is still not completely stable. So even for users like myself, sometimes, I'd love the download to go feature of any platform, because it just allows me to watch something and consume it without any interruption. So it may not be purely addressable to those in the bottom or lower income or the disconnected world, but it's also totally useful for somebody who's always connected, but is just traveling across the landscape, right? There's also a big use case over there. And we look forward to working with the Migo team. We definitely want to accelerate the uptake of our content. And I would like to end my summary by welcoming both teams. We share a joint vision. And as our executive chairman, Pak Haritano, always reminds the management teams, the journey to accelerate and transform the lives of Indonesian consumers has just begun. It's a long journey ahead. And we need to execute with vision, quality, and speed. And I think with that, I'd like to end my address. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for lending me your ears. And I hand it back to the MC, Ibu Anisha. Thank you.
Thank you, Bapak Omar Giri. Ladies and gentlemen, well, the next one is a question and answer session. And the first question will be for MVN. What is the rationale for MVN investment in Migo? Mr. Ade Chandra, please.
Thank you, Anisha. Well, it's pretty clear, actually. We believe that Migo offers a very unique service to the mass market, allowing viewers to watch quality digital contents offline at affordable price through Warung Migo download station location all over Indonesia. With MVN strategic investment into Migo, this will allow Migo to roll out its networks more aggressive and faster throughout Indonesia. Together with MNC and MVN's local content superiority and Migo's technology and reach, this will create a very strong proposition into the market, expedite our distribution and growth of our Vision Plus digital streaming OTT and Migo together, targeting more than 20 million paying subscribers over the next 5 years. Thank you, Anisha.
Thank you, Mr. Ade Chandra, for the answer. And next question will be for Migo. How will Migo decide its rollout plan for the next 1 or 2 years? Any specific metrics that might guide the management to pinpoint effective deployment location of Migo stations?
Yes, Anisha. So as I mentioned earlier, we develop a proprietary data models that will enable us to identify the convenient characteristic to target our siting. So that proprietary models is actually within the models we are carefully and also continuously doing the regression to maintain and improve not only the profitability but also the quality metrics. And those across those metrics and also the characteristic and defined location with our proprietary models, we are able to pinpoint the most effective deployment location actually. And because of the continuous on also the carefully learnings from time to time, effective deployment is, well, I should say guaranteed in this case. Thank you.
Thank you, Ibu Aisanya. And next question will be also for Migo. It is known that Vision Plus content is already available on Migo. Can you give some color on how it was performed so far?
Sure, I would love to. I love talking about Vision Plus content now that we have it on Migo. I shared a couple of graphs a few minutes ago that really show you that every week Vision Plus on Migo is growing and growing and growing in terms of the gigabytes downloaded and the users that are paying to watch Vision Plus on Migo. But maybe a little bit more color. Ikatan Cinta, of course, we all knew it was going to do very well. before we launched it on Migo. And then after we did, I think it took 3.5 or 4 days before it was Migo's most watched title. So I think that gives you a little bit of color for how excited people are to be able to watch this show on a catch-up basis without having to use up their quota. So that's extremely exciting. We are, another example is Amanawali, of course, the second highest rated Cinetron from the MNC group, which has also seen extremely high uptake very soon after we introduced the Amanawali catch-up. And then there's so much more content that we're excited about in the future. Next week, we'll be releasing Joe and Robot Kobe and expect that to have extremely strong uptake too.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Connor. And the last question also for Migo. Can you comment on the possible synergies that may arise from this collaboration with MVN as part of MNC Group, as there are other underserved digital products that can be accelerated to Migo technology?
Absolutely. This is one of the most exciting bigger picture things of this partnership for me. So Harry mentioned earlier gaming. That's an area that I'm really excited to get into. And MNC's existing gaming products, I'm sure, when we develop an offline version, are going to get massive uptake amongst our customer base. I think another angle, of course, is e-commerce, where right now, so many customers have to use their data to do any kind of e-commerce shopping. And with MNC's e-commerce offerings, if we can bring those to customers offline, I think we can greatly expand the market for e-commerce in that way. And then, I'll give one more example, then I'll stop. Of course, there's many. Is MNC Bank. So there are tens of millions of customers in Indonesia, potential customers who are underbanked, and much of that is because they are not part of the information ecosystem that teaches people how financial services can be useful in their lives and what services are potentially available to them. So by partnering with MNC Bank, Migo can bring all new information about financial services products to customers that just aren't using them today, educate those customers, help them understand the benefits that these products can bring, and then also update them on how to get them, help them access those products through our network. So those are just 3 examples, but there's so many different exciting aspects of the MNC group that we just can't wait to bring to our customers.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. And this is the end of question and answer session. Thank you, Mr. Adichendra, Mr. Dan Connor, and Ibu Aisanya for the answers. Ladies and gentlemen, before we end today's event, let us listen to closing remarks from our Executive Chairman of MNC Group, Bapak Haritanu Sudibyo. Bapak Haritanu Sudibyo, the time is yours, Pak.
Thank you, Anissa. Thank you, Barrett. Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Waisaya, and my colleague, De and Omar, and everyone who watched the signing ceremony just now. Saya mau bicara bahasa Indonesia. To conclude, untuk memberikan konklusi, Migo satu-satunya offline distribution platform untuk digital product. Jadi banyak sekali yang bisa dikerjasamakan. Di MNC Group saja, tadi saya singgung masalah Vision Plus. Vision Plus membawa semua konten yang current, seperti yang di televisi RCTI, Ikatan Cinta Menawali, dan lain-lain, yang ratingnya sangat luar biasa tingginya. Tapi juga library ke belakang. Jadi pengguna Migo bisa download library yang ke belakang, bisa ngikuti alur ceritanya dari awal bahkan, karena itu ada di Vision Plus semua. Kemudian juga original content yang setiap bulan dibuat. Ya. Tapi bukan itu saja, tadi sudah disebut gaming, ya, kemudian bank juga, banking, digital banking luar biasa sinerginya, karena underbanked dan unbanked people di Indonesia itu 70%. Kalau unbanked 50%, termasuk underbanked 70%. Underbanked artinya they have difficulty in getting basically credit facility dan sebagainya. Kalau unbanked itu sama sekali tidak punya akses ke banking facility. Jadi bisa bersinergi sangat luar biasa karena pada saatnya perlu satu tempat untuk nasabah bank digital banking itu bisa dapat cash juga. Station itu nanti warung-warung bisa dipakai sebagai tempat untuk station atau untuk setor uang ataupun juga ini pengambil uang tunai, karena bagaimanapun uang tunai itu di daerah-daerah masih dibutuhkan. Jadi banyak sekali. Dan on top of that juga bisa bekerja sama dengan digital product lainnya ya, bukan MNC saja. Anything, any digital product, music juga bisa. Jadi Migo ini punya prospek sangat luar biasa. Dan kalau target 100.000, bayangkan 100.000 station, minimum 500 per station, itu 50 juta tercover. Kalau 1.000 ya 100 juta. Dan itu sangat mungkin. Karena masyarakat kita saat ini 60% masih di semi atau semi-urban dan rural area yang paling banyak tentunya pemakainya nanti. Karena bagaimanapun internet masih dirasakan terlalu mahal. Bukannya mahal, tapi kualitasnya kalau untuk pemakaian yang lama juga masih dirasakan kurang bagus. Ya, jadi kadang buffering ya dan sebagainya. Jadi kesimpulannya, saya sebagai pimpinan MNC Group sangat yakin Migo akan berkembang pesat, akan menjadi besar dalam waktu singkat. Ya, tentunya dengan sinergi ini akan lebih cepat lagi. Tadi Barrett bilang 1 tambah 1 10. Yes, of course, that is basically the basic principle of synergy. 1 tambah 1 bukan 2 is 10. 1 plus 1 is 10. Ya, jadi itulah all the rationale kenapa kami melakukan investasi di sini yang akan menguntungkan Migo, akan menguntungkan MNC Group, not just MVN, dan menguntungkan masyarakat Indonesia. Mereka bisa menikmati semua digital product dengan murah, dengan cepat, dan kualitas gambar yang tentunya sangat baik. Cara saya itu kesimpulan dari saya. Terima kasih. Thank you for the cooperation, Pak.
Hari Tanu Sudibyo for the closing remarks. Excellencies, honorable guests, participants, ladies and gentlemen. Finally, we get to the last session in this event, that is closing. Thank you for coming, and please forgive us for our shortcomings. Until we meet again, and stay healthy, everyone. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Terima kasih.
Terima kasih.
Terima kasih.
Terima kasih.